clear that the terrorist list should not be a political list. It should be reserved for those organizations that are truly a threat to the national security of the United States. Now with us to talk about that was the person who has been fighting terrorists, who knows what the terrorist list is, who ought to be on it and who not to be on it, and that is a FBI director under a Democrat and a Republican, Lewis.
Thank you very much, Patrick, and Governor, my colleagues here, but most importantly, thank you to you, your wonderful audience. Give yourself a big hand, please. And thank you, Mrs. Rajavi, for your eloquence and, your 10-point program of freedom that talks about not just fundamental freedoms, but freedom of religion, freedom of women, is just a template of what human rights is all about. And as I told you in Paris, as soon as this organization is delisted from what is a mislisting, we want you to come here, and I told you I'd give you a tour of the FBI headquarters. You're great, and our friends and family in many cases in Camp Ashraf hear you and feel your strength. And remember the words of a great wartime leader, Winston Churchill, who said, never, 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 never give up. And your partners, our colleagues, the families, men, women, and children in Ashraf, we haven't given up. And we're proud to stand by you today and speak to you from this birth of freedom here in Washington, D.C. We're here between an earthquake, right, and a hurricane. But your voice for freedom today makes more noise and gets more attention in the building behind us than any hurricane or earthquake. And that's because you are the voice of freedom, you are the voice of change, and isn't it great in America and many other places, but not in Iran, you can assemble, you can lobby, you can argue, you can defend your rights and ask for freedom. God bless you for doing that. Like Governor Riddell, I want to talk a little bit to our audience, albeit our captive audience on the 7th floor behind us and the White House down the street. We want to talk to them today about facts. We want to talk to them today about evidence. We want to talk to them about truth, and we want to talk to them about reality. One of the things you do as a lawyer when you're preparing for an argument, you try to marshal all the arguments that your opponents will make against you. And you also try to identify who is it that opposes me. Of course, it's defense counsel, plaintiff's counsel on the other side. But who is it that opposes us? Now, if we ask that question here today, who is it that opposes the proposition that the NDK is not a terrorist organization? Well, there's a couple of contenders. There's the regime in Tehran, right? And there's a serious mislisting, I call it a mislisting, in the U.S. Department of State.